All right, so in this video, we're going to go through the 5153 capture pack from Amalgam. And if we look at the contents of the capture pack, you can see here we've got 17 captures here, ranging in gain from edge through kind of the full gain. I will say there's a little bit of an error here in the PDF. This bottom block of captures is actually channel 3. So these are the high gain tones. And you can see, like most of the essential packs, these have cabs included as part of the capture. They're not DI captures that you would use with an IR. And these captures are using one of two cabinets. One is a Mesa Boogie 4x12 with V30s in it. The other is a Marshall with G12s in it. So the one thing I'll say is this was a little concerning to me right off the bat, because I know the EVH amps, the cabinets that they make are G12s. And so I was a little concerned to see that a lot of these captures are using the V30 cabinet, because V30s can tend to be a little mid-pushed, and I don't know that that really goes with this kind of amp for my taste. I'm worried that it's going to get a little muddy, but we'll check them out and see how it's going to be. And so if we switch over to the preset that I've created to test these out, you can see up here we've pretty much got the standard Amalgam setup that I do when I'm testing these. I've got 4 levels of gain: edge, crunch, rhythm, which is channel 2, and lead, which is channel 3. And I picked the 4 captures that I like best of those different gain levels. And then I'm running all of those through a low high cut. In my opinion, a lot of these captures that have cabs included tend to be a little boomy on the bass. And so I like to cut off some of those bass frequencies to make it sound a little tighter. And then we've got the high cut at about 6,500. The other thing I have in here is I have a few of the QC models that are of this amp, so we can compare those. And I'm running those through a cabinet that's a EVH cabinet with G12s, and I have the same low-high cut, 120 and 6,500. There is no model on the Quad Cortex that covers the channel 1, which is the edge and the crunch. The Quad Cortex just has the blue and the red, which to me corresponds with channel 2, which is the rhythm, and channel 3, which is the lead. So let's start with the edge of breakup sound. Oh, and for today, I'm using my PRS SE pulse guitar, and I'm going to keep both pickups in the humbucking mode. And right now, I'm on the neck pickup. Here's what this edge capture sounds like. And it works well even on the bridge pickup. And if we look at the captures, there's really only one other edge capture on this, that's the bright. And to me, that was a little too bright. Now, one thing I want to point out, and I don't know what's going on with the new version of the Cortex control, but as soon as I selected that other capture, it kind of pushed me down in the list. Here, let's do it again. See, every time it keeps moving me around the list, every time I change. Watch. I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, here's the bright. That's on the bridge. Let's go to the neck. So I think I just like the balance a little better. They're pretty close, but the balance just has a little more warmth to it, and I think that works better. So let's go to the crunch tone. And if we look over here, there's 3 different captures that are in this crunch bucket. There's a balanced, there's a bright, and there's a warm. And they're all using cab 2, which is the G12 cabinet. So a nice kind of open rhythm tone. And that's the warm. So the other ones, I think, are just a little too thin. Where are we? I try the balanced. So again, there's not much difference between them at this gain level, but I think the warm one just is a little fuller and warmer, and I like it better. But let's get to the higher gain stuff. That's why you get an amp like this, is for the higher gain tones. Let's check that out. So let's check out, this is what I'm calling the rhythm, which is the channel 2. And if we look, there's quite a few captures on this channel 2. We've got balanced, bright, fat, scooped, thin, and warm. I actually landed on the thin, and I think I did so because the thin is the only one using the G12 cabinet. So let's hear what that sounds like. So I don't think that sounds super thin. It's just got a little more sparkle on the top end, which is, frankly, when I'm doing these kind of EVH sounds, that's what I'm going for. So let's go ahead and try some of the other ones. So this is the balance. And again, this is switching to use the cabinet with the V30s. I think the V30s, to me, if you hear that, that's the bright. When we go back to the thin, I just think the G12s are tighter and they go better with this amp. But let's check out some of the other ones. So here's the gain 2 fat. And I have to say, I'm getting tired of having to scroll here. And let's try the scooped. To me, it still comes back to using the one with the cab 2. I think the scooped probably comes closest to what I would look for, just because, again, it's taking some of that mid away. I think if you get too much mid in these, they get a little muddy, especially on the low end. And I just think the V30s, to me, they're just not the right cabinet for this, at least for the tone that I hear in my head when I think about using the 5150. So let's go ahead and go back. So let's check out the lead, or the channel 3. Again, there's a pack of 6 here. And again, I landed on the thin using the G12 cabinet because the ones with the other cab, I just don't think they work. So here's the thin one. And if we try some of the other ones, let's go ahead and go to the balanced. And this is the bright. And the warm, or let's do the fat first. And finally, the scoops. I think I just land on this capture, and I think it's because of the cabinet that they're using. I don't know, maybe the pickups in this guitar have a little more mid in them than a high gain kind of guitar. And maybe if you had a guitar that had a little more of a scooped tone to it in terms of the pickups, maybe the V30 cabinets would work better. I don't know. For me and the guitars that I have, the V30s just don't go well with as much gain. So let's go ahead and compare the channel 2 and channel 3 tones from the Amalgam captures with the blue and red channel models from the Quad Cortex. So what I've got here is I've got a model that's a blue, and I have another blue that's set to the settings that they give us in the Amalgam PDF, and we'll try that out. And then I have a red that is set to settings that I find work. So let's go ahead and compare. This is the blue with my settings against the channel 2 capture. And here's the capture. Let's go ahead and compare against the model that this is the settings that Amalgam says they use to create that capture. To me, that doesn't work at all. I don't know what Amalgam's doing to get this much low end if they've only got the bass on 3. Again, here's my settings. So overall, I think the capture definitely wins there for me. Let's compare the channel 3 or the red channel. So here's the capture. And here's the model. So I think, as expected, the captures sound better than the models. I don't think that's very unusual. I think I've hit that over and over again. I do wish that they had created more captures using that G12 cabinet, or even better yet, got a true cabinet from EVH that was meant to go with the amp. I think that would have resulted in an overall better pack of captures, but I can't fault how they sound. They all sound pretty good. And maybe if you're using a different guitar or you just have different tastes than I do, they'll work great for you. I just feel like this capture pack could have been even better. And once again, I'm left wanting to just have DI captures that I can put whatever cabinet I want on it and get the tones that I want, rather than kind of having that Mesa 4x12 with the V30s married to the amp and I can't change it. So if you're thinking about getting this capture pack, know that most of the options, at least for the higher gain tones, are going to be using that V30 cabinet, and they're going to sound that way. They still sound good. They're just not as good as they could be, in my opinion, but you may have a different opinion. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these captures and I'm going to put them into that EVH wet dry wet preset that I was just working on and see how they sound in there. So keep an eye out for that. I'll put that out soon. And as always, thanks for watching.